Hey, buenos dias, que onda, que paso, amigos? John's Moto Garage. Welcome back to the channel. If you've been following the channel for a while, then you know that about a year ago I had one of the coolest but also one of the most expensive motorcycles ever on the channel. It was a 2017 Harley Davidson Lowrider S. Today I'm going to share with you the walk around video that I did of that bike before I sold it. I had a ton of people from out of state interested in the motorcycle, so I uploaded a video, kept it private, and it was probably one of the last videos I ever did on that bike. So today we're going to share with you that motorcycle. Before we jump into that, I'll talk a little bit about why I bought that bike, why I was so stoked on it, but then also why I decided to sell it. And then stay tuned to the very end and I'll go over how much I paid for the bike and how much I ended up selling it for. You can see if I made money, lost money, or broke even on the Lowrider S. So first, about the motorcycle, I got into the Harley wheelies and I kind of got into that rabbit hole and realized that the Lowrider S is the gnarliest of the gnarly when it comes to the Dynas. It comes stock from the factory with the 110 cubic inch engine. Just super cool motorcycle, super powerful. And in addition to that, I really just like the way they look. So months before buying this bike, I started kind of doing my research and looking online, and the market on these was pretty hot. The bikes did not last long and they sold fast, and they sold for top dollar. And so it took me missing out on a few deals before I finally found the right one. Happened to be in Austin, Texas. Reached out to the dude, we came to an agreement on price, and I decided to fly out to Austin, Texas, buy the bike and ride it home. So I did all that, got there, no disappointments with the bike. I loved it. I bought it and I brought it home and proceeded to have a blast on the bike. But I quickly realized that for the riding I do, which is trying to learn the Harley wheelies and trying to learn drifts and all that kind of thing, this bike was just way too much for me. It had like 120 horsepower, 120 foot-pounds of torque, something like that. It was a performance-built bike. It had the aftermarket swing arm, the upgraded suspension. I mean, everything you could ask for, not to mention the engine, upgraded cams and everything. The bike had it. And so I basically learned that the gnarliest power isn't necessarily the best for all types of riding, especially not for the type of riding that I was trying to do. In addition to that, I had so much money dumped into it, and the idea of wrecking it or, destroying that engine, I just couldn't live with myself. It was just way too nice a bike, way too nice a motorcycle. So ultimately, that's why I decided to sell the bike. So here's one of the last videos I ever did of the motorcycle. It was my final walk around. I uploaded this, kept it private on YouTube, just shared it with people who were interested in the bike coming from out of state. And I did end up actually selling it to a dude who flew in from California, so it worked out in that regard. Let's check out the video, the final walk around, and then stay tuned to the end. Like I said, I'll go over how much I paid for it and how much I ended up selling the motorcycle for. All right, que paso, amigos? John's Moto Garage. Today I'm going to bring you guys a walk around of the Lowrider S. I've had quite a bit of people expressing interest in it, and since a lot of people are out of state, I'm going to try to do an up-close, detailed walk around. I'll try to point out all the flaws, anything and everything that I'm aware of that to a potential buyer they would want to know about, or at least things that I would want to know about. Not going to do a full in-depth breakdown of all the parts. I'll put a link below to a video that goes in-depth, and I'll include a list of all the upgrades that I'm aware of, but just a basic overview. 2017 Lowrider S Fxdls. I picked this up back in, I think it was May. I flew out to Austin to buy the bike, and as you can see, far from stock. I apologize for the lighting. Having a heck of a time trying to find good lighting. I rolled it out into the grass. Didn't work out too well. So anyway, we're gonna see if this shade works out okay. And we'll do a cold start. I haven't had this thing running in probably a good couple of days. As you can see, full cold start. I try to, if I remember, I have it chilling on the trickle charger, but all right. Of course, it comes with both sets of keys. All right, so there you have a cold start on it. The things I was pointing out, you've got right here, it's not even like a scratch. I'm not really sure what it is, but that is there on the tank. And then over here, obviously this is an aftermarket fender. It has the full rear fender conversion kit, and you can see there's just some of the paint chipping here where the seat screws on. And the paint job looks pretty, I mean, it matches and it looks pretty good, but you can see just a few imperfections right there. That's when I had the Defender bags and it just rubbed off a little bit. And then right here, you can see the wheels, of course, were powder coated black. They're the original Lowrider S wheels, but powder coated black. You've got the gold forks, flow pegs, mid controls, the Bassani exhaust. I think a Moon's rear tail light. Oh, my keys fell down. Of course, the chain conversion, track dynamics, rear swing arm, Olin's rear suspension, rear shocks. I measured these out. These are 10-inch hardcase performance risers. And then of course you've got the GPR stabilizer. Missing the end on that cap there. So again, full list of all the upgrades and a link to a video where I did a breakdown in the description below. And then of course, here's all what comes included. You've got the 2 original keys. These are the only, this is the only original piece that I still have. And then if you were to do the gauge relocation, there's one that you could potentially use. It's not in there, but I'm pretty sure I have the dyno sheet still for it when it was dynoed. Again, by the original owner. So there you have it, the 2017 Lowrider S. I'm going to try not to use it a ton just because I have had quite a bit of people expressing interest, but as of now it's got about 9,600 miles on it. That may go up slightly on the bike, but for the most part it'll sit here hanging out in the garage. And no known issues. Oil was changed about 1,500 miles ago, and I've not noticed a single drop or leak anywhere. So there you have it, guys. Hit me up if you're have any additional questions or are interested. Email is johnsmotogarage@gmail.com. You can DM me through Instagram at johnsmotogarage, and then from there we can exchange contact information and all that good stuff. Oh, tires. So these are Shinko, 777s. They're not brand new, but they still have some life left. The rear, is closer, a little more worn than the front. And yeah, and I don't recall, but I'm pretty sure Thorne, the previous owner, already did the brake pads. Yeah, you got plenty of meat left on those pads. So yeah, there you have it, you guys. All right, John's Moto Garage. The walk around on the Lowrider S. Pretty rad moto. One last final walk around. And pretty much the only thing that I was, potentially going to do on the bike if I kept it myself was, I think, the rear upgraded motor mounts and then some crash bars. And I really love the way the 14-inch rear shocks look with that little gap. So those were the things that were kind of on my list. Aside from that, maybe do the gauge relocation. But for the most part, this thing had pretty much everything I was looking for. All right, you guys, we'll hit you up on the next one. Adios. All right, so there you have it. Even watching that footage back brings me, yeah, it brings me back to the great memories I had with that Lowrider S. It really is just an awesome motorcycle. Looks rad, sounds really good, a lot of fun to ride. So the big question, how much did I pay for it and how much did I sell it for? So I paid 18,500 bucks. That's right, nearly $20,000 for that bike. And even thinking about it now, I'm like, holy smokes, that is a lot of money for a motorcycle, especially given that it's a pre-owned bike with like 13,000 miles. But the crazy thing is, they're still getting close to that amount, if not that much, because just of all the upgrades and what people are willing to pay for it. I mean, the upgrades alone are like 10,000 bucks. So yeah, I mean, there's a ton of money dumped into it. I ended up selling the motorcycle for 17,500. So I did take a little bit of a hit, not to mention what I paid for registration plus the plane ticket to get out there. But I had the bike for a good 6 months, had a good time on it. I learned from that bike, like I said, that the most power isn't necessarily the best bike depending on the type of riding that you do. Drop a comment below, what's the most amount of money you've ever spent on a motorcycle? Do you regret it? Was it a good purchase? Let me know below. And I think that's gonna do it. As you can see, we are up in Utah right now, enjoying the beautiful weather, getting away from Arizona for a little bit, but we'll be back in town sooner than later. And not to fear, we still got videos and content coming on the channel. Like and subscribe if you dig it. We appreciate the support. We'll catch you next time. Adios. Nos vemos.